What is going on, guys? I am Wes with MDRX Airsoft, and today we're taking a look at the Silverback Airsoft MDRX Micron V3 AEG. If you guys have been playing Airsoft for a little while now, you've probably heard the brand Silverback Airsoft. Silverback kind of made their headway making really high-performing sniper rifles. And if you've ever used one, you know that they shoot extremely well. Now, they did dip their toes into AEGs a little bit ago with the MDRX. Now, this is the new iteration, the MDRX Micron. This guy, in comparison to the original MDRX, uses M4 mags. The previous generation MDRX was a 16-inch barrel and used 308 style magazines or SR25 mags. The coolest thing about the Micron is it does allow M4 mags, making it much easier to get into the platform with your random pile of M4 mags that you've shoved into the corner of your bedroom. Let's get into the externals and the internals of the MDRX Micron. To start out, we do have a fully licensed and engraved external body, so you have all the right markings and it looks fantastic. You have a CNC'd upper receiver made out of extremely strong aluminum and a fiberglass reinforced polymer on the lower. This gun has absolutely zero wobble, and when you pick it up and hold it in your hands, it is extremely solid. Moving on to the front, this is a polymer, fiberglass reinforced polymer, just like the body, handguard, which has M-lock slots, and a pretty cool handguard grip style. But if you wanted to add something different, you do have the slots on the sides here for lights, lasers, or anything your heart can desire. Moving above it, you have your Picatinny rail section. This guy is perfect for mounting any optic of your choice. Even if you wanted to do an optic and a PEC box, you have tons of rail space to do so. And it keeps the weight a little bit more balanced, as most of the weight is in the back with the gearbox. In front here, you have 14mm negative threads, so you can go ahead and throw on any suppressor that you can purchase with 14mm negative threads. It does come with the flash hider in the box, and it's honestly an extremely good looking flash hider, and you're probably not going to want to swap it out. For all my left-handed users out here, the MDRX Micron has fully ambidextrous controls, so you can grab your selector from both sides if you're left or right-handed. You also have 3 magazine releases, which is the most excessive use of magazine releases I've ever seen, but it is actually a really cool feature, and I'll get to that in a second. You do have one right in front of the trigger that you can access with your trigger hand. You can also reach with your offhand and grab the front of the magwell here and drop the magazine that way. And then right behind the magazine, there is a straight up push release. That one is, in my opinion, completely unnecessary. It's a very awkward reload, and we did notice there is a little bit of struggle sometimes. But I do like the idea of the front magazine release and the rear magazine release, because sometimes you find yourself in extremely weird situations when you have to change mags, and sometimes you need that different type of movement to drop your magazines. So I think it's a really cool feature that Silverback incorporated here, and both of those 2 magazine releases work flawlessly. And then the last thing externally with the MDRX Micron is the battery. The battery goes in the buttstock. You pop 1 pin and it allows you to throw your battery in the back and close the buttstock back up, and you'll be good to hit the field. Overall, like I said, there's zero wobble in this gun, so externally it's beautiful and it really feels good in your hands. All the weight with a bullpup is usually held kind of from the trigger back, so when you shoulder the rifle, all the weight gets held into your shoulder pocket and creates a really light feeling gun. It's fantastic. I really like how it feels in your hands, and I'm not a bullpup enjoyer. So now that we're done with the externals, let's move into the internals. The internals are probably where this gun shines the most, in my personal opinion. This is a full metal version 3 gearbox, and something very cool that I enjoy about the version 3 that they're using on this rifle is I come from a long use of Sistema PTWs, and the PTWs use a tappet plateless design when moving the nozzle to load your BBs. The MDRX also shares that same system. It's not the exact same, as Sistema is a pretty old system at this point, but they do use a tappet plateless design, and in my opinion, I like that because you have a few less parts that are needed to load the BB into the hop-up chamber. And what you know, the less parts that you have, the less things that can break. So from a reliability standpoint, I think that is really cool that they incorporated it. It has such a snappy sound and feel when you pull the trigger, and I think that does play a little bit into that design. You also have an oversized cylinder inside of the gearbox, giving you more air volume every time you pull the trigger. It is 19% larger than your standard AEG cylinder, giving you just a little bit more edge and a little bit more air every time you pull the trigger. And you're also coupling that with a steel cylinder head with a dampener pad and a metal nozzle. The dampening pad is fantastic. It's kind of like a shock absorber for your piston. It creates a softer and more quiet gearbox sound every time you pull the trigger, and typically it will correct your AOE, or angle of engagement. So those 18-to-1 steel gears can pick up on that piston with the correct angle every time you pull the trigger, once again increasing longevity with the MDRX Micron. You also have a great barrel setup. The barrel setup does have a rotary style hop-up with 36 adjustment clicks in this hop-up. What that allows is a very, very refined hop-up adjustments. You can really dial in those BBs to fly exactly the way you want with whatever weight you want. Also included in the box is a different nub that you can install into this hop-up unit. What this does is allow you to hop BBs heavier than 3.2s. So if you're never going to be using this gun indoors, you can run it as it comes, run your 2.8s, your 2.5s, and tear it up indoors all day. But if you know you're going to be playing outdoors and running a little bit heavier of a BB, you can go ahead, throw the included nub in, and hop up to whatever your heart desires. Moving forward, you do have a 330 millimeter, 6.05 millimeter barrel pre-installed right out of the box. Now the nice thing about a 605 is most AEGs will come with a 6.08 millimeter inner barrel. What this does is it tightens it up around the BB just a little bit more, allowing for that extra air volume to be put to work, giving you that extra range every time you pull the trigger. The coolest and most technologically advanced section of this gun is its electronic control unit. Now an ECU is really cool because it adds a little bit more brain to the airsoft gun. There's no more mechanical trigger contacts or mechanical cutoff levers. This gun is using the ECU to control all of that. So what that means is every time you pull the trigger, you get one full gearbox cycle, regardless of how fast you pull the trigger. If you've run old AEGs in the past, you'll notice that lockup sometimes on semi-auto use. That is a thing of the past with the ECU in this MDRX. Now, the other feature that has is you have the ability to change the modes of fire. So you can have pre-cocking, which is bringing the piston to the all the way back position, and it rests there. So as soon as you pull the trigger, it releases and gives you an almost instantaneous trigger response every time you pull the trigger. You also have DMR delay, which pretty much gives you a timer in between trigger pulls, so you can't shoot the gun as fast as you want to simulate a DMR. You also have active braking, which is something that holds the motor in the same position every time it cycles one time. This is great for the consistency shot to shot, and that's what eliminates a cutoff lever. And then you also have binary shooting, which is when you pull the trigger one time it shoots, and when you release the trigger it shoots again. And the final feature is burst setting, so you can change your full auto to a burst, just like in the video games, one trigger pull, 3 shots, one trigger pull, however many BBs you want. And that's all controllable from the ECU that you can control very easily in your MDRX. And then the last feature of the ECU is it actually has a low battery detection. So if you do run a LiPo battery, you've probably been told, don't let it die. Don't let it run out of juice because you'll kill your LiPo battery. The MDRX has a low battery protection, so it'll let you know when your battery gets low, and you won't be buying any more LiPo batteries. Very, very cool technology to be seeing in airsoft guns. I know we've seen it in some others, but honestly, the simplicity of their ECU system, it works really well, and we've had great experiences with it. Now that I've talked your ear off about the externals and the internals, let's go over to the Chrono and see what it shoots at. So now let's get into some pros and cons. One of my favorite things is it does have one of the easiest quick change spring systems that I've ever seen. So changing from indoor play to outdoor play is about as easy as it gets. And it's also included in the box with multiple springs, so you don't have to go and buy your own. This gun really does come with everything that you need to play in multiple different environments when you want to use your MDRX. Another pro with this gun is you can use M4 mags, unlike the previous model. And now, Silverback thought ahead and realized M4 mags come in all shapes and sizes. They've included magwell spacer shims that you can add or take away inside of the magwell to make sure that no matter what brand magazine you're using, there won't be any wobble. The factory magazine literally has no wobble, which is something you don't see very often with platforms running M4 mags. And the final pro, in my opinion, is the weight. It only weighs 5.8 pounds, and being a bullpup rifle, when you shoulder these, like I said earlier, most of the weight is held back here where the gearbox is. And when you put that into your shoulder, most of the weight is held up there, taking a lot of that strain off of your arms, allowing you to run around and use this gun for a much longer period of time. I see that as a pro because that's what we want to do with airsoft guns, is run around and have fun with our friends for as long as humanly possible. But just like any airsoft gun, they aren't without their cons. So I will go into the very few that I have with this gun, and I will let you know what I think. The first thing here is the charging handle. The charging handle doesn't do anything, and I think that with a gun that's so well thought out and really seems to have all its bells and whistles covered, it doesn't have a functioning charging handle. At the end of the day, does it really affect anything? No, but it kind of bothers me for some reason. The reason it bothers me is because you have to manually move the dust cover out of the way to change your hop-up. When you have a charging handle here doing nothing, and you have an inconvenient feature like that, I feel like they could have been combined, but I didn't design the airsoft gun. There might be a reason that that isn't possible, but regardless, I will check that off as a con. The other con that I do feel with this gun is the empty magazine detection. And then the only other con I have with it is it's a tight battery space. Putting batteries in this gun can be a little difficult, and I see it more as a con because if your battery dies on the field, it's nice to have a little bit of extra space to maybe borrow a battery from somebody. But when you're limited on space, you're limited on batteries, and that does make it hard for on-field situations to be solved with something so tight like this. But at the end of the day, you could just prep a little better, have a few more batteries that fit it on you, and you'll never run into that problem. But overall, there's not much negative to speak on the MDRX Micron. It really does cover all the bases for someone who wants to run an indoor gun, an outdoor gun, mix your magazines with different platforms, have a lot of updated technology built into it, and have a very unique, very solid feeling airsoft gun every time you hit the field. If you guys have any other questions about the MDRX Micron, make sure you drop them down in the comments. And if you do want to pick one of these up for yourself, head over to ampedairsoft.com and grab yourself one before we don't have them. You also get free shipping because it's over $75, and it'll be shipped to your door as fast as humanly possible. If you guys like this video and you want to watch more of them, make sure to check out the channel. We've been doing a lot of videos like this. And if you have any improvements or suggestions for the videos, drop those down in the comments as well. And I'm going to leave you with some fantastic gameplay footage of the MDRX Micron at American Mill Sim Arsenal 2 being used by Logan, who uses his airsoft guns extremely hard. So you'll see how it holds up in those paces.
Okay, well, you're a medic. Yeah, you want to be in the back.
Right down in the corner, Talon.
Yep. I know a lot of those videos are recent.
I'm hitting that corner with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nasty.
Good shit.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll just say shoot it.
I'm gonna stay with the marksman.
Yeah, you're easily.
Yeah.
You got him.
I don't think that was me. No? Oh, no, he's right here. I don't think that was me.
Clayton, the one around
Hit.
Hit?
No, he's hit.
This one's hit, yeah. On the stairs, the guy's trying to met him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Try and shoot through the stairwell, yeah?
Move to the right, do that. Move to the right and shoot through the stairwell.
There's a guy below him, though. That's
Right here, Talon. Right here, Talon.
shooting back.
So,
No, I'm talking up here.
oh, not in this close building. Right there. See those guys up
Yeah,
there?
I see 'em. All right, watch out,
That's
watch
who would shoot at us.
Watch out, watch out. Got him. Oh.
The ricocheting zone.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.